I was like, I need to wear a jacket.
Yeah, it was. I could have used something on my hands when I was walking 7 this morning.
That too. Yeah. My toes were cold as well.
I'll take getting down into the 30s because I'll also take getting up into the 30s because it's a little chilly. I think it's probably in the 35 or so.
You're like, oh, I
today.
could have taken off my sweater.
How did you guys
30s.
fare through the what was the Alberta? I always forget what it's called. The Alberta.
It just got cold in Columbus, so I'm too far south to get all that lake effect. But my dad, who was in Atlanta for the holidays, sent me a picture from one of his webcams around the house. He had about 18 inches of snow in the driveway.
Wow. So Len might be on the show tomorrow if we can find him, is what you're saying.
Len did say that
This was a joke, by the way, because of the snow.
Snow jokes.
Just rushing.
So I was going to say that Len emailed back that he wouldn't probably be on
Is Len still
tomorrow.
with us? No one knows.
Tune in and find out.
Well, you won't be able to because you won't be here tomorrow.
No. Thank you.
Caught in a snowdrift. Or will he? I don't know. Maybe he'll be on the show.
Maybe the snow will melt.
Maybe.
Or maybe he'll enjoy it more.
There was actually, I don't know, it's a weird story, but there's this hike that I do with my dog in LA, and it's very sort of desert landscape stuff. And the other day when we did the hike, there were these large piles of snow, but it didn't seem to be related to, somebody had like a fun Santa party or anything. They were in a weird spot where it would be hard to get the snow there in the first place. Mm-hmm. I was like, I wonder if the city's doing something. I don't know.
Or was there a chute?
Maybe there was a chute. Yeah, no, that would probably make the most sense. It was too far away from a house to be this was some sort of like a house party.
And it's a snow. It wasn't like fake or like like synthetic.
I mean, it was ice.
But it was ice. That's what. Yeah.
Yeah, it was made of water, not powder.
No, it was definitely water because it was melting.
2-minute warning. 2 minutes.
Oh, you know what? The other day, my car was frosted over on the windshields and the back window, and I had to scrape it off, and there was a good pile of shaved ice I had to throw outside.
Oh, you didn't make something out of it? It was a little strawberry.
I made a ball that I tossed into the storm drain.
Yummy.
I was hoping to hit that weird alien horror creature that lives there.
You could have done a shave ice.
The aliens would like to shave ice.
I don't have any of the syrups, though. I need to stock up on my
either.
Karate syrup.
Boy,
We
did I
got
like those
some-
when I was a kid, though.
We had some syrups with some coffee we bought one time, and I just ran out. I made a peach gin fizz with it the other night with the last.
Ooh, with the fizz.
That just sounds kind of good.
Yeah, what's the
it-
fizz part? Just like
club soda.
sparkling water.
Ah.
Yeah.
1 minute.
Tom has his future deck that he's going to be a mixologist.
I'm in a bourbon phase.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
the bourbon phase. Been
I'm
there.
trying to cut down on beer. And so, at the end of the night, maybe baby's down.
I
Just
drank an
throw
entire bottle of bourbon.
Just drink a bottle of bourbon now. Take a bottle to the old head and then sleep it off.
But I'm cutting down on the
That
beer.
little scream box can't wake me up if I'm
My
passed out
grandparents
cold.
always used to say, if you're sick, you drink a bottle of whiskey and you wake up well.
Ooh, super sticker. Thank you, Laminar Rainbow. You're the best.
Stickers are the best.
Super sticker. Yay. That super sticker is meant to help Justin buy a bottle of bourbon. Nice.
Let's go.
I like bourbon. I like it more than whiskey.
I think
Have a
Justin.
good show, everybody.
Good day, Internet.
Good day, Internet.
Good day, Internet.
Good day,
This-
Internet.
Oh, sorry.
Good day, Internet.
This is DTNS Live for Thursday, December 12th, 2024 in Los Angeles. I'm Tom Merritt.
From Studio Animal House, I am Sarah Lane.
From Columbus, Ohio, I'm Robb Dunewood.
Deep in the heart of Texas, I'm Justin Robert Young.
And I'm the show's producer, Roger Chang.
Daily Tech News Show Live is made possible by the listeners. Thanks to all of you, including Kirk Stephenson, Miranda Janelle, That Charlie Dude. And we have new patrons galore. Denise, Christopher, Matthew, and 8-Bit Boomstick. Woo-hoo. Hey. Oh, yeah. When you get 4 of them, we get the crowd applause going.
All right. If everybody's like, this seems a little odd. Yes, this is a DTNS Live, our experiment to see what happens when we spend a little bit more time discussing news stories of the day, along with our live audience and obviously our patrons. If you're looking for the focused daily tech news show that you know and love, check out your DTNS feeds and also Patreon.
All right. Before we get to our discussions, I believe we should still check the news.
A new Pew Research survey of U.S. teens between ages of 13 and 17 shows that 73% use YouTube daily, 57% use TikTok daily, 50% use Instagram, and 20% use Facebook. Notably, 17% use X, which is down from 23% in 2022.
Aha. In our subreddit, Motang submitted this one about Warner Brothers Discovery. The company is reorganizing its business into 2 separate units, one that has a future and cable. There's linear networks and streaming and studio business. Those are the three parts of that. Set to be complete by mid-2025. Warner Brothers Discovery took a $9.1 billion write-down on its channels in August after TNT lost live NBA games to Amazon Prime Video.
Australia announced new rules requiring big tech companies like Meta and Google to pay local publishers for news or face higher taxes starting January 2025. The news bargaining incentive applies to companies earning over $250 million annually and is updated version of the 2021 News Media Bargaining Code. Final legislation is expected in February. And this is pretty much all Meta's fault because they backed out of another deal.
Mm-hmm.
Flat Panels HD reports that LG has discontinued all of its Blu-ray players, including its UBK80 and UBK90 UHD models. Remaining stock will still be available, but that's it. Or is it? LG Korea tells Flat Panels HD that the company could reverse course if demand grows.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There is a chance.
Or maybe they're going to pivot to HD DVD. Google unveiled its mixed reality operating system, Android XR, first Android variant since Android Auto, complete with Gemini built in for headsets and smart glasses. Company plans a 2025 launch with Samsung's Project Muhan headset.
Bloomberg's Mark Gurman reports that Apple is getting ready to produce its own in-house combined Wi-Fi plus Bluetooth chip, a separate move from its own cellular modems. The chip will reportedly tie in the new Apple TV and HomePod Mini coming in 2025, plus the iPhone 17, iPads, and Macs by 2026.
All right, Rob, let's talk about the ACLU. What's the latest?
So there was an interesting article today on Engadget, and it showcased an ACLU white paper making an argument about how police departments shouldn't allow officers to use AI to draft police reports, because what possibly could go wrong with doing that? The ACLU argues that the tech could produce errors that affect evidence and court cases. And I know for one, when I first read this, I was like, I know you lying. This is not a good thing to me that police departments literally are going to use AI to help draft a police officer's report before the officer actually does it. It's intended to be an aid to help them, but I still want police officers memorializing that stuff like they do today, because that stuff is not even terribly accurate. But yeah, I personally kind of see an issue if you have AI creating not just a transcript, but actually here's what we think happened based off of the video and audio that we captured, because there's all kind of issues with AI.
Yeah,
The software is called Draft One. And it does two things. It does a transcript and a first draft of the police report. Sounds to me like you have a bigger problem with the draft of the police report.
I have a problem with the draft of the police report. I just, I don't trust AI that way. And the ACLU, they basically had 4 areas where they said that this is very, very problematic. One of them was AI is quirky and unreliable and prone to making up facts and is also biased, which we all know to be true. And then, as I said, officers' memories of an incident should be memorialized before they are contaminated by AI's bodies. By AI's, what it's going to think of what is happening in the video. So, like I said, there's a couple other that we'll get to, as we keep talking. But to me, I've always heard that a police report should not presume innocence or guilt. It should just be written based off of what the police officer perceives to be there. The problem is that even with police officers, that's not necessarily the case. They tend to think what happened, and that's how they write their reports. But at least with a police officer, you can cross-examine them and ask them why they think the way that they think. How do you do that when it comes to AI creating this? And my concern is that you literally will have an AI that is trained off of basically the internet, all the data that is there, or much of the data that is there, that is flawed and biased and has a lot of racism and sexism and all kind of isms. That seems like that would, seep into what the AI presents as a police report, even if it's just a draft, where the police officers come after the fact and say, oh, yeah, this is how it happened, based off of not what they remember, but based off of what they're seeing and AI thinks actually happened. And to me, that's kind of problematic.
I might be able to bring a little bit of a unique perspective here, because I, in a bygone era, used to have to read police reports for a living. I used to be a cops reporter, and so I read a lot of police reports. I will say they are imperfect. They are often, at least in the era that I was in, and I don't know, this obviously goes precinct by precinct, but shout out to Sergeant Cannellan of the Syracuse Police Department, that was their public resource officer, that would, get me the reports, but they were often handwritten and they were hard to decipher. My fear in general, when it comes to public safety, and specifically the transparency in public safety that needs to happen if the populace is to feel secured by them, is that there is a preponderance of information as fast as possible and as clearly accessible as possible. While I understand where you're coming from, Rob, I do think that if this is backstopped by video and audio, so the report is not the only record that exists of something, but rather it is just transcribing the acts that have happened and then are essentially summarizing it, then number one, I think that the ACLU, while they have all rights to be cautious about this, I think that they're overstating the ability for things to just be outright wrong. These are, the training of the LLM from the outside world is, in this context, more about learning how to speak and learning syntax than it is necessarily about the bias in a situation. If it is just describing something that is happening, I do believe in, and this depends on what, LLM this particular service is working with.
ChatGPT.
So it would be, then let's assume that they are working with, the most recent language model, right? So it's like 4.0 or something like that. I believe it would be faithfully able to render a transcription of the video and then a description of the video. Now, I agree with you that this should not be anything close to a final word, and that any officer that is involved in a stop for any context needs to be putting their name on it. But my concern as somebody who had to read these police reports is that when you are entirely leaving it up to the officer, you don't often get everything that you could, and you certainly don't get as much as a transcription of a video would give you. And I'm on the side of more information being on the record.
I don't have a problem with transcription. These are the words that were said. Mm-hmm. Where I have the problem is that when you're using AI to summarize what happened in a form of a police report, because that can be used as evidence. And now you have the potential to lead an officer into what the AI thinks would actually happen in that scenario. And I don't want a computer that I know to be biased towards women, to be biased towards minorities, to be biased towards people with, excess melanin in their skin. I don't want anything to go into that. And I guess for me, what I'm saying, I don't trust AI enough to ultimately be able to convict or set someone free based off of what it thinks happened in a video, as compared to what the police officers who were there experiencing as the video was being taken actually say first. My real concern is that I want to see a police officer write down, here's what I think happened, before they ever get the chance to look at what AI think happened in that situation.
Yeah, I very much see where you're coming from. Transcription and summarization are at the backbones of a lot of things that we are seeing right now with AI that we do not see in full view. And it is incredibly important to a lot of the technologies that are happening, up to and including something that OpenAI announced today, and that was video with advanced voice mode. So you can just, talk directly to your phone and it will know what it is seeing. The backbone of that is it transcribing what it is seeing to itself and then it responding to you based on that. It is a constant inner monologue of it transcribing the video as it comes out, as it goes on. So I would suspect, and again, this all depends on what the LLM is. I don't know if the police reportization, the summarization essentially of a transcription would particularly be, biased in a way that would be problematic, at least in the current versions of the tech. Now, that being said, we should always be double checking any kind of relationship that public safety has with its citizens, and you should never be using it as a final word. What I would say is that, especially if we're looking at this as a element of evidence, if it is always backstopped by audio and video, then that will always supersede it. That will always be something that either the defendant or the prosecution can be able to bring up. The police report itself, I view more, and again, this is mostly from my perspective, as just having to interact with them. I would so much have rathered to have had more information than less information. And ultimately, that's to me the problem that would need to be solved. Because when I was doing them, these reports were flimsy. They were almost non-existent. And that is something that I think has more of an actual harm on the public, is if a police report is not particularly well filled out and doesn't have details that are memorialized. So a defendant who might have had things go wrong can look back at them.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're saying, Justin, is if you've got the video and you've got the audio, then that's what happened, right? A flimsy report that was submitted by a police officer well before AI was ever an option. That's one thing. Now we have the very real fear of AI hallucinating, and that hallucinates when I do daily tech headlines sometimes, where I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so, like, I don't know what happened to you, like you really crapped the bed just now. But when it comes to somebody, being, in police custody for whatever reason, and possibly, being prosecuted for whatever reason, this kind of stuff really does make a difference.
Yeah, I think I get where you're coming from, Rob, and I also I understand what you're saying, Justin, as well, because this is using GPT-4 Turbo, according to Axon.com. They calibrated the model themselves, though, so they limited it. So it's not going to be prone to all the things that happened to ChatGPT, because they say they narrowed it down. They also say that you can't just use it to make a report. It's going to provide things that the officer has to look at and approve before it's submitted. So the idea is it's speeding things up by saying, here's the transcription that you can check. That'll make it faster than scrubbing through the video. Here are a summary of what's in that transcription, but they say that their model is going to prevent embellishments. It's going to prevent hallucinations. It's going to stick to the facts, and it's going to point to the parts in the transcript that follow it up. So the problem we're faced with is, do you trust the people using it? To me, it sounds like the technology is there to say, we have done everything we can to make sure this is not going to fall through some of the pitfalls that Rob outlined. It's up to the officer to not get lazy and just pass it through without looking it over. And a lot of officers are going to make sure, because their name is on it, that they do that. But I understand what the ACLU is saying and what you're saying, Rob, which is, okay, but what happens, when it does get passed through, or when someone does get a little busy and doesn't look at this, and what happens if one of the embellishments does creep in? There's a lot of transparency that needs to happen around this stuff. And I think that is the one part of the ACLU complaint that I think is important, is making sure people know what tools are being used for what and by whom.
On Monday,
Yes.
OpenAI released Sora, their AI video generator, and I can say that after routinely harassing Sora.com over the last 72 hours, I indeed have access to it. I will say this: it's so far very, very interesting. The text to video generation is something that's come a long way. I do think that this is probably the top of the line from what I have seen, but has anybody else gotten a chance to use it?
I
Just
haven't,
barely.
No,
I haven't
I've
actually
only
gotten an
seen-
account yet. I'm still trying to get one, but I am thoroughly impressed by those who have gotten access to it and have created some nifty 15, 20-second videos. This is pretty impressive what this thing can do. I mean, it is truly remarkable what it can do.
I think one of my the initial question I have had with tools like Sora and equivalent tools is, okay, so we can do something really impressive, but for a very short period of time. So this isn't a short movie. This definitely isn't a long movie. What is it? What is it good for? Are we finally getting to a point where we will now be watching full featured films that are made with tools like Sora? Because right now it just feels like proof of concept to me.
I think that's a terrible way to look at it.
I think it's best used for B-roll, or I'm in the edit bay and I realize, ooh, this establishing shot is good, but I wish it was wider. And instead of having to go do a reshoot, you could say, Sora, take this source video and expand it, or make it afternoon instead of nighttime. I think stuff like that, it's really going to be useful for. And I think it probably is already useful for, because they've been working with a lot of folks in the industry on this.
This is something that I would say about AI creative tools in general. Number one, they're tools. So don't bring everybody over to your house and say, look at my tools. Nobody thinks it's interesting. Take your tools and...
There were two people now just like, I love seeing other people's tools.
But I love the tools, yeah. Build something with it. Do something cool with it. Use it to augment things. That's what I would really, really encourage people to think about AI creation tools, like Midjourney and Runway is another great video, text to video generation, along with what OpenAI has. But if you're using things in the background, if you're using things to enhance what you are already doing that is already kind of human creativity, it adds to the ability for people to say, oh, wow, that brings a reason why. It brings a level of polish that I was not expecting to see. It will lift your product. Sora specifically is something that I will say over the last 24 hours, I have got about a 50% success rate with it. It is obviously still, it's under heavy load. They released it to the world immediately, had to restrict account access because it was not working. All of OpenAI went down yesterday, and now it is back. I would not doubt that it's probably on some level because of some of the strain that they have seen with Sora, along with the fact that ChatGPT is very popular. So that being said, the note that I would have, the hint that I would have, the tip is start your video generations with a still image. So go to DALL-E, go to Midjourney, figure out what you would want to be the first frame of your image. And it gives a lot of visual information to Sora that then it can run on. Otherwise, it is going to just make up a lot of different, it's going to make a lot of different assumptions. It is good with that. I do think that in terms of the UI, this is probably the slickest UI that I have seen on a text-to-video generator. I think it is more sophisticated than Runway, which I would consider to be the title holder before. But it's good on OpenAI. They continue to build really solid products.
I don't have the ability to upload an image to prompt yet. They restrict that. It's sort of, letting people into the tent slowly so that they know people are using it responsibly. So I had to try to describe Justin doing PX3 when I made it. And it made him too old, really. But, it's a guy in a suit in front of an American flag. He looks more like a dictator of a small country to me, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. Like one in Eastern Europe that's also near Turkey, like something like that. Like that's,
right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the other problem, is that it's also very restrictive on faces right now. It is very, very hesitant to create anything that to upload any kind of face. It does not want to be in the world of deep fakes in the same way that I'm sure already very much exists and only will continue to exist as things go forward. But I would encourage people, think of where this can add 5% to a thing that you are doing right now. That would be, and I would say that for Udio, for music, I would say that for DALL-E or Midjourney or Sora. Think of ways that it can help you do a thing that you're currently doing, be it podcasting, art, anything else. That's really where you're going to get a lot of worth out of it, because it's there is a visceral reaction that people have to AI projects, but also people like pretty pictures, videos, and sounds. And so if you can figure out a way to package that is surrounded by your own effort, I think you will be rewarded for it.
Yeah, Tom, I said in our pre-show meeting that the video that you created without even uploading an image first, it looked passable to me. If I didn't know that it was AI, I wasn't looking at it necessarily closely. If it was just on a YouTube video that's playing on a TV or something like that, I would have just assumed it was a 65-year-old guy, in a suit talking in front of a flag. I mean, there's nothing about that video that strikes me as, oh, this is absolutely AI. It just looked like a video. And I think that's ultimately what these tools are trying to get to, that they look real. That's the point behind them. And as I said, it
didn't look like Justin, but it looked like a person, right?
It looked like a person. Yeah. It was completely passable in the moment that I saw it, until, if you really, pull the microphone, the magnifying glass out and you're scanning, that's not real. That's AI. But for most people, the way that you're going to use it, that it's just passable, which is probably good enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to steal this from Andrew Main, but the 6 fingers on the hand, or the text that doesn't look real for video, is slow motion. Sora specifically does a lot of stuff that is cinematically kind of slowed down for dramatic effect, and I think that is
not on
sign.
Purpose. You're saying it just
that is a hallmark.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's a hallmark of these video generators. And look, they're a far way away, in my opinion, from being able to create like a feature-length film. There's a lot of stuff that they just don't get right. Like, yes, they can do these big sweeping tracking shots. I don't know exactly how many people are using gigantic sweeping tracking shots in things that they are doing every single day, but boy, they sure do look pretty. It's not great at showing a dialogue of two people sitting in a booth, right? AI can do the voices, but they cannot do the visuals. Will that come eventually? Yeah, probably. I don't know. I don't know how close we are to it. But in the meantime, there's a lot of worth here that I think people can really crack. And good on OpenAI for making it available. Right now I'm a Plus user, so I pay $20 a month. I don't know if this will be able to get me over the hump for their $200 a month pro plan. We'll see what they announce by the end of their little string of announcements here for Ship Miss, that with a P, Ship Miss.
Ship.
It's impressive. It is very, very impressive.
Moving on to how much you want to pay for content. D3 Photo submitted the price hike in our subreddit about YouTube TV. So here's the story. YouTube announced Wednesday that its YouTube TV subscription will be $82.99 starting on January 13th for existing customers and effective immediately for new customers. So if you do it right now, that's the price. YouTube TV climbed to $72.99 as of March 2023. At that time, as many others did, I grumbled because I'm a YouTube TV customer. Before that, it was $64.99. I signed up the first time in 2018 when it was $50, at which time it was an incredible steal. I mean, they're just running away from it, as compared to, traditional cable operators. It was $35 per month if you were lucky enough to have been hanging out with YouTube TV in its earliest days. So YouTube has to deal with carriage disputes from Disney, NBC Universal, lots of content owners. This all is leading to YouTube TV's price to climb higher and higher. The company says, hey, we can't do anything about it. We just have to do this in order to give you the best experience possible. So the base subscription still includes over 100 channels, cloud DVR with unlimited storage, which is great, up to 6 user accounts per household, and flexibility of 3 concurrent streams. But it still charges extra for 4K streaming. So at this point, I want to ask the panel, is $83 make sense for you to pay for YouTube TV every month?
Not I, said Rob.
Yeah.
So we're getting to the point to where, here's the real thing for me. These streaming services have now gotten to be more expensive than actual cable, which I was trying to replace them with in the first place. So for me, it wasn't about, I just got to be on streaming because of the technology. It was like, man, cable's daggone expensive. I want to see if I can save a few bucks each month. But now there's so many services. I'm signed up to, such a number of them. And I look at a service like YouTube, TV. I look at Hulu Plus. I look at these places where you can actually get the live television. And depending on the cable bill, the internet package you have, you might be able to throw just basic cable on top of it for like $35 or $40 a month, which gives you everything, or I wouldn't say everything. It gives you a lot of what you would get with a YouTube TV, probably 85, 95% parity there. So they are getting to where they are too expensive. And I'm thinking of folks like, my daughter just doesn't have any type of live streaming television. She's got the rabbit ears on top of her. It's not the rabbit ears. She's actually got an HD antenna, but that's how she watches live TV. And then the streaming services are for the things that she can't get over the air. So she may have, for her, it may just be a Peacock subscription because there's stuff that she likes to watch on there. Or it may just be an Apple TV Plus subscription because there's stuff she likes to watch on there. But it's not all of these things. And it's like, she gets probably 110, 111 channels just over the air for free. So it makes it makes $83 a month. It makes that really, really hard to swallow because it's getting to where it is as expensive as cable, if not more at this point.
The average for cable, I just looked it up, is between $40 and $150, and the average, like if you just pick an average, is $83.
That's hilarious.
Wow.
Exactly.
So that's it.
This was always destined to happen because none of the economics of these cable channels changed when it went to streaming. The only thing that was different was that you essentially started the clock over when it came to these individual negotiations with the various different companies. For those of you who are not aware, in a bygone era, ESPN changed the game of television by leveraging college football against cable carriers and saying, hey, we're not going to pay you for space on your system. You're going to pay us, and we're going to emotionally blackmail your relationship with your customers to force you to do it by denying them their college football games that we just bought the rights to. And so the entire world of cable carriage fees was born. It's the reason why ESPN is always the highest, by the way, whenever anybody points that out. It's just because they started it. That means that when the cable bundle, the literal cable bundle, began dying because people were leaving cable, and therefore the per customer carriage fees were going down for these companies, they were hoping that they would replace them with these streaming services. But there's a lot more Robs in the world than people expected. And now those are not meeting the same expectations. In fact, I believe that there's even softening in some of the adoption of these over-the-top cable replacement things like YouTube TV. Now, I would suspect YouTube TV will continue to survive, at least for one reason, and the reason why it's going to survive in my household, and that's because they have NFL Sunday Ticket, and I'm an out-of-market Steelers fan. So, them's the breaks in the big city.
Well,
they're 10-3. Let's go, Russell
YouTube
Wilson.
is going to keep NFL Sunday Ticket, but you don't need to have YouTube TV to get it. You can just add it to YouTube.
You just have the ticket. Get you some rabbit.
Yeah,
Save
but
yourself.
also I need the news things too. I need my quad. I need to watch all 4 cable news channels at the same time because I'm a sick human being.
I mean, part of this, I feel like, is, as you were saying, Rob, your daughter has an OTA antenna, so you can get all the network stuff for sure, as long as you have a good signal and some regional stuff as well. I have quite a few regional sort of, college station channels that I can get in my house now. But that used to be, if I want to watch football, then as long as I have ABC, I'm fine. That is not the case today. It is ESPN, it's Amazon, it's, you have to, if you know what you're doing, it's not that big a deal. But for a lot of folks, I think that something like YouTube TV hiking up their prices because it's just easy to watch sports is a big part of this.
YouTube TV is a pedestrian bridge in the 1920s, and they're building interstates right next to it. YouTube doesn't care about YouTube TV other than it's a good way to get people to move over to using YouTube stuff more. And it's a great way to sell NFL Sunday Ticket where they actually make money. I'm going to guess even at $83, they don't make any money on this. There are 8 million subscribers to YouTube TV. It is the #1 cable replacement system in the United States at 8 million. The closest is Hulu Live TV, which is 4-point-something million. I think it's 4.6. Compare that to YouTube Premium, the service that everyone says like, well, I don't know if I want to pay just to get rid of ads on YouTube. They have 100 million paying subscribers. And if you just compare it to users of YouTube, there are 2.5 billion of those. So YouTube TV, they don't even care if people stop using it, especially as Peacock is adding sports. Max is adding, well, it's losing sports, but it's also adding sports. You've got local channels available in Paramount Plus. You've got local channels starting to be available in Disney Plus in some markets. Everybody's just going to be able to get all the stuff they get from YouTube TV elsewhere. And YouTube TV is going to decline even though it's the leader. And so YouTube just doesn't want to lose money off it anymore. It's going to keep it around because it's the leader and it's a bridge to selling packages. But ideally what they'd like is for you to buy YouTube Premium and add-ons. They don't want to have to operate the service that brings you all of the video. They want you to add Peacock to YouTube, add Paramount Plus to YouTube, add Max to YouTube, which they also do. You can add like AMC Plus and stuff. They don't have all the stuff they would like, but I think that's their long-term goal, and they just shut down YouTube TV at some point because it just won't be useful.
I would disagree with you. And to go along with what we saw with Warner Brothers Discovery and now whatever the new spinoff is going to happen with Comcast, we might be at a sea change where some of these cable companies radically redo how they make money. They might be slimming down to a tremendous degree, and then they figure out a way to be a slightly more economical. And there is a market for professionally sourced live television that is not something that happens on YouTube or Twitch, because I don't know if that model is going to be more profitable for them. Like these media companies will do everything they can to exist. The question is, will one of these major conglomerates realize that there's the writing on the wall, that they're just not going to make the same kind of money that they were making? They're not going to exponentially increase their cable bundle price. And maybe they can renegotiate to something that is less profitable but more sustainable going forward on a service like this. I do think that a service like this is valuable. I just don't know if it's going to be the forever escalating price that we had with cable, because I do think that, you know, this might be the mark of me being an old person, that my daughter will look at me like an absolute ancient fossil because I want well-produced live television quality streaming product.
But it's available on Disney Plus. It's available on Max. You don't need to have YouTube TV to get it. The Oscars are going to be on Hulu and therefore on Disney Plus. Like this even live professionally produced stuff is going to be available.
Yeah, but not 24/7. Like that's right. That's the comforting part of
You mean
cable.
the linear stream? Because
linear
that is
streams,
also Max just added 6 HBO linear streams to its service.
Yeah.
Showtime is available as a linear stream on Paramount Plus.
There is tremendous change coming. I don't know if it will be everything. Now, maybe it will be. Maybe everything's just going to be a tile inside another service at some point, and that's where people want to push us, is just don't buy the $82 service, buy 7 $13 services, every single day.
You add them on to YouTube. That's what YouTube wants. You add them onto Amazon.
But they want it. Yes, exactly. And they want to take a cut on whatever that is. Yeah.
And then you just have the one bill, right? Just like cable. It's comforting.
It's so funny that you guys spent so much time cutting the cord only for it to reform in a new cyber metallic form.
It's a virtual cord now.
A virtual cord.
Give me some pliers and some duct tape. Let me fix my cord.
How long, Sarah, do you think you'll end up keeping YouTube TV? If you had to guess.
I don't have plans to
foreseeable future.
Forever.
Yeah, it's just, even if you could get everything in some other way, like you'd just rather have it. You'd just rather have it all there.
Yeah.
I like multi-screen. I like my quad.
Yeah, you can do a quad.
Yes, I don't have YouTube TV. I have Hulu, Plus Live with sports. And if it were not for the sports, I'd get rid of it, because that's really the only thing that I watch live or sports on television at this point.
I'll tell you what, I've watched so much football since my daughter was born. Oh my God. She was born right during football season, and I've just been mainlining it. So I've been very well acquainted with my YouTube TV app over the last several months.
All right, well, let's finish up. I've got the Epic Games story. If you haven't heard, Epic Games has the ability to offer a third-party app store on Android devices, which it launched back in August, even before Judge James Donato ruled that Google couldn't stop them from doing it. And now they've partnered with Telefonica to pre-install the Epic Games Store on all new Android devices that Telefonica sells on its networks. Telefonica operates O2, it operates Movie Star, and it's got networks in Germany, Latin America, Spain, and the UK. So if you go to O2 or Movie Star and buy a phone, it's going to come with the Epic Games Store installed. And Epic is touting this as a victory. We win. We broke the Google monopoly. Now you can get an alternative pre-installed on your phone. You don't have to do it yourself. And I say to the panel, does that sound like bloatware to you? Does that sound like something you want, where stuff is pre-installed for you?
It does, but this is not new for Android in particular. I mean, if I have some older Verizon phones that are sitting here. They have stuff on them that I never installed. They just came on the phone. And in some cases, you can't even uninstall it. Now, that's a question that I have for this. Can you uninstall the Epic Store?
I don't know. Yeah,
so that's a good question. So bloatware to me is when there's something that comes on your phone and you can't even uninstall it. If it's uninstallable, that is kind of the thing for Android devices, unless you have, I'll just speak here in the United States, if you're on AT&T or T-Mobile or Verizon, there's not a lot of stuff on there. But if you're on anybody else, they put all kind of stuff on your phone because that's how they generate money to subsidize the price of those phones. So is it bloatware? Yeah, but I don't think that that's going to bother a lot of Android users because this has been the case for them almost forever. And if you can uninstall this, it's not really an issue at all.
Yeah, I think it's bloatware. I think that it's bloatware that they should legally be allowed to have. It should be able to exist.
You're saying bloatware shouldn't be against the law.
It's not. Bloatware shouldn't be illegal, or rather, wait. They should be able to offer it.
Sure.
That being said, it's probably, I mean, I'm not an Epic Games person. So if I'm sure there's plenty of Fortnite and Fall Guys players that maybe they will want the things that are offered within the store, or they will be forced to use the store because Epic Games will put exclusive things that will only be offered there to entice them to become customers. But it's bloatware. It's exactly how you would define bloatware.
Anything that is not core operating system is bloatware. I mean, Google didn't decide for this to go onto that device. The hardware manufacturer of the phone didn't decide for it to go onto the device. The carrier did. So yeah, by definition, it's bloatware. But I said that's really the game. For Android devices, it's always been that way. Unless you, like I said, I'm speaking for here in the United States. If you're on Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, they've cut a lot of that out because they truly are competing with iPhones, on that level. But for all the other MVNOs and just the lesser carriers in the United States, there's all kind of stuff that comes on your phone that I am constantly, every time I see like my mother who's using Android, but she doesn't have the highest end phones, I'm just uninstalling stuff because she updated and now has these new games that she never plays on the device.
And a lot of people aren't going to mind because they like Epic, right? It's only annoying if you don't want the thing. And a lot of people will want this. I mean, iOS comes with a lot of stuff, and I've heard people call it bloatware, but most people don't think of it that way.
No, people don't think of the Stocks app as bloatware.
Is the Stocks app still there? I think
no, Stocks app is there.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. You might be able to.
It's still there. Yeah.
I might be able to.
That's the question. If it's not core operating system, is it bloatware?
I would mostly describe bloatware as what it's more of a term for me, Rob, to describe adware, like things that are explicitly there because there was a financial relationship between either the manufacturer or the carrier to install it, right? Now, that gets a little trickier when you talk about like preference for or default settings for like Google to exist on Safari. That gets paid, billions and billions of dollars from Google to Cupertino, right? But explicitly when it comes to like, why is this tile on my phone? Oh, it's because Gatorade paid, the MVNO that I have my Android phone from. Like, okay, that's bloatware. I don't need that there. It's only there because somebody else was making money, and that was the financial relationship. Please make your customer delete me.
I wonder if this could happen with iOS, because they're going to have to allow third-party app stores too, and Epic could go and strike a deal with somebody that makes Apple phones.
Or that
at least
sells
in the
Apple
EU.
phones.
Yeah. Or sells Apple phones, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how
if
that
they
works.
I wonder if Apple would say, well, you can install it, but it's not going to be installed by default.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be the case no matter what. You'd have to have some kind of deal.
Well, that's already the possibility. I think this is fine. I don't think most people are going to mind this, but it does kind of crack open that door towards phone companies, particularly having deals where they get paid to put a thing on a phone and they can't resist.
Walk into any Target or Walmart and buy an Android device that is right there on the shelf where you can literally go pick it up and walk. Well, not necessarily Walmart, maybe Target. You could actually physically go pick it up and walk it to the cash register.
Depends on the Target.
There will be all kind of stuff that Google has no idea exists on that phone. When you purchase it. Much of it you cannot uninstall. Much of it is if you buy this phone for this discounted rate, these apps are simply going to exist on this phone, and you can put them to sleep, you can hide them, but you can't physically take them off to clear the space. So that is my question. For what Telefonica is doing here. Can this be removed, or if you buy a phone on their network now, is it simply just going to have an Epic store and you can do nothing to get rid of it? That makes it bloatware to me. I'm
going to guess you'll be able to remove it, but I don't know for sure. It would be a bad move if you couldn't.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'll represent the Android people. This is not really news. This is just kind of like, this is just how it is. So
Epic's just one in a long line. Exactly. Yeah. Well, should we get to the mailbag then?
Let's do it. James, the trucker, wanted to weigh in on universes, multiverses, and even infinite universes.
James Trucker. Sorry about the background noise. I'm rolling north on US 69 in Oklahoma. Y'all were talking about infinite multiverses and quantum computing yesterday on GDI, and infinite multiverses happens to be a pet peeve of mine. Everyone always says if there are infinite multiverses, then there is a universe where I'm the emperor of the world. Well, that's not the nature of infinity. If there are infinite multiverses, then there are infinite universes where you are emperor, and that just sounds like imaginary stuff to me. The whole quantum computing thing, to me, seems more like, rather than extra universes, we're talking about extra dimensional space. So we know for sure that this computation cannot take place within our universe as we understand it. So the computation has to be taking place somewhere else. And we go pop culture junk and say, oh, it's the multiverse, it's infinite universes. I think it's just extra dimensional space. We know that this computation can't take place in the universe as we understand it. So the computation is taking place somewhere else. It has to be extra dimensional space. Tom kind of touched on that a little bit while y'all were talking, but you did hit the pet peeve with the infinite universes thing for me. So I thought I'd call in. Love the show. Bye.
Oh, thanks, James.
You have to take things that truckers say seriously, because they have more time than the general person to think about things deeply.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
A shout out to truckers and active duty military, friends to podcasters from the very beginning, and will be with us to the very end, because they got a lot of time on their hands, and that podcasting is very portable. So salute to both of those the parts of the American patchwork. The podcaster is your friend and will always be there for you.
Speaking of podcasting, Justin Robert Young, what would you like to tell folks what you're up to these days?
Well, I want to remind everybody that we have brand new episodes of World's Greatest Con out. It is the two-part saga of Crazy Eddie, a discount retailer in New York City in the 70s and 80s. If I have to remind people that did not grow up in the tri-state area during that period of time. If you did, then you have almost assuredly seen or heard one of the ads, if not many of those ads. But the story behind it are even more insane. So go ahead and grab it. World's Greatest Con, Crazy Eddie, two-part episode available now.
I knew Crazy Eddie from the Saturday Night Live skit. So,
really?
even if you're
crazy,
not from
crazy
New York,
Edelman, the discount psychologist.
Totally. So I kind of absorbed it, even though I wasn't in the New York area, and it's a great series. This 2-part episode from World's Greatest Con is a must listen. I binged right through it as soon as it came out. Sarah, did you get your stickers?
Did
Yay!
so. Don't know where I'm gonna put them yet, but pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's Tom, it's Roger, and it's me, and it really looks like us.
Yeah.
For
Glenn did
better
a great
or
job.
worse.
Yeah.
For better or worse. No, I mean, it's us. Yeah.
He probably put less gray in my beard than I have, but other than that, it does look like us.
Yeah. You're a good juggler of
Also, I can't juggle like that at all. You're right. Good point. This is just the first of the sticker packs. But if you want to get in on the ground floor collecting the stickers, they're $4.99 each or $12.99 for all 3 in a pack. And shipping's free. So just head on over to dailytechnewsshow.com/store. Before we get out of here, patrons, what did you think? What did you think of the DTNS live take? This is our last experiment of the year before we take all your feedback together and figure out our strategy for 2025. So let us know in the comments.
Oh my God,
or by
2025
email.
is next year.
I know. Well, it's not even next year.
3
it's,
weeks.
Well, it is, but
We're less than 3
I
weeks
know.
away.
I don't know. Something about 25 just makes
25,
me, my
yeah.
head explodes.
We're a quarter of the way through the 21st century.
Yeah, well, great.
What the feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com, by the way, the email address if you want to email us stuff. But what did y'all think of the experiment today? How did it feel?
Are you asking us or them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
Well, I'm asking
or the
both
collective
them.
we. The
Yeah,
collective
but
we.
right now I'm asking y'all.
I just like
thought
hanging
it
out
was
with my
nice.
friends.
Yeah,
I'm
it's-
excited to talk to my friends at all times. Not only, of course, the folks here and behind the curtain, but also all of you, dear listeners, out there in podcast land.
I like that
mostly
we
the
have
soldiers
more
and the truckers.
time. I like that we have more time. We have more time to dig into the stories and really not just tell you what happened, but we can talk amongst ourselves about why we think it happened or why we think it's good, why we don't think it's good. So it gives us just additional time to talk about the individual stories that we talk about. And I like to talk, so that's always good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're all in this business because we like talking.
It's possible. Yeah. Maybe on to something there, Sarah Lane.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, one thing I didn't even think about until we did it this way today was like the ability to just kind of look up stuff, as we were going, because we had the time. It wasn't like, well, we got to move on. It was like, oh, let me find out like how many people do pay for YouTube Premium and all that stuff. And stuff's easier to find these days than ever before.
Yeah, it's truly a discussion.
Yeah.
It's truly a discussion.
Truly a discussion. Well, everybody, we are going to be back doing it all again tomorrow with Patrick Norton and Len Peralta and a regular show. This was our experiment show. We're going back to the regular format tomorrow, live Monday through Friday, 4 p.m., 2000 UTC. Find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live. Thanks for being with us, and we welcome your
DTNS
feedback.
Family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
All right. We are still live. What do we want to do? Should we pick the titles?
We can pick the titles. Did you guys see that OpenAI will let you talk to Santa?
Oh, is that the shipmess today?
Yeah, it was AV ChatGPT, right? Or advanced voice mode, so you can show it stuff, and then they're gonna roll out a Santa mode that automatically is preset with a Santa voice and a Santa disposition.
So he is real
He is real.
and living inside ChatGPT.
I cannot wait to get it so I can ask Santa very pointed and specific
Inappropriate
questions about the world events.
That really did look like the real Santa, or at least the one from A Miracle on 34th Street.
Well, that I think is that was just the art for the for the thing, but the little icon that right now for advanced voice mode is just like a swirling, blob of colors is a snow globe with little snowflakes falling when you're talking to Santa. I just really wonder what the gating and error message is.
I'm sorry, Santa
as a
can't
large
comment on
language
Lebanon.
model, I cannot conduct that search.
As a large, jolly language model,
Exactly.
I have no opinion on Ukraine arms.
I was going to say, I was trying to think of something that wouldn't be an actual third rail topic that could sit in as a third rail topic.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, showbot.tv/DTNS2 is where the titles are. We just have one thing to title today, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Like the DTNS stuff, we don't do that today.
So we could take them from either column.
Well, what do we got?
Yeah.
Over on GDI, whatever floats your bloat. I like that one.
Yeah.
That one comes from Batfink, 2001. YouTube doesn't care about the TV from JPEG. I think it kind of does, but just wants to charge you for it.
JPEG 84 also had YouTube is charting into cable TV prices.
Movies are soaring into new levels. Also from JPEG. JPEG, you have a lot of really good ones today.
Yeah.
They also added, aren't all movies fake anyway?
Yeah, technically.
Yeah,
Santa is real from Zoe because many people still.
Well, of course he is.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean,
How
as long as
else are you
Macy's
gonna get
the department.
presents? I mean,
as long as
who
the
else is
department-
going to give you the presents? It's clearly Santa.
Right.
Yeah.
How else would they get there?
Yeah.
Even in a house without a chimney, how do they?
We
get
have
it
Justin's mark of an old person.
Cutting the virtual cord, also from Zoe. It's bloatware all the way down from Stealth Dave.
That's funny. I like that.
That's actually a really good one.
That sounds like the winner.
Bloatware all the way down.
All the way down.
All right.
Who had that one?
Right.
Still there.
That was bloatware all the way down. That was from JPEG 84. Oh no, wait. That was, where did it go? I just had it.
Yeah, they're moving around.
Oh, it's Stealth Dave. Yeah, because he
Stealth Dave.
got a vote and it shot up the charts.
Right.
Big thanks to Laminar Rainbow for the super sticker earlier. Let's see. I'll pull up the Twitch folks too here. BioCal resubscribed at tier 1 for the 67th month. Audience member 321 followed us. Finally. We got through those first 320 so fast. We've been waiting for you. So he brings bacon with 4 bits. PC Milesy for the 49th month, resubscribed with Prime. So thanks everybody for following us there. And thanks everybody for supporting us on Patreon. I'll play the GDI music to take us out then.
Let's go.
All right. Thanks everybody. We'll see you back tomorrow. Have a good day.
Good day, Internet.
Good day, Internet.
Bye, Discord.